Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are going to dive into something absolutely crucial, a blueprint that completely demystifies wealth building. If you've ever felt like lasting financial security is just this giant puzzle reserved for a lucky few, well, get ready. We're going to break down exactly how to move from literally zero to a place of lasting wealth and completely transform your financial reality. $0. Now I want you to imagine $1,000,000. Here's the secret that most people miss entirely. That net worth of $0 and $1,000,000, they don't have to belong to two completely different people. That can actually be the exact same person, just 5 years apart. No way, right? But today we're unpacking exactly how that transformation happens, step by step. Section 1, the real gap, and why it's much smaller than you think. The massive paradigm shift here is that the gap between staying broke and building real wealth isn't about, inheriting a huge trust fund or winning the lottery. It's actually about incredibly small, highly consistent habits. And this brilliantly illustrates how just $5 a day, which is literally less than the cost of a daily coffee, invested consistently in the stock market can realistically grow into tens of thousands of dollars over a few decades. $5. That is the actual bridge across the wealth gap. Now hold on to that thought because later on I'm going to reveal why wealthy people actually love market recessions while everyone else panics. But first, we really need to understand why most people never even get to that starting line. Moving to Section 2, the identity shift. Wealth is a decision before it's a reality. You see, being broke is often this heavy feeling of financial stress way before it's a math problem in your bank account. So to change it, a fundamental psychological shift has to happen within you first. Wealthy people don't just magically think differently out of thin air. They actually make a very specific decision right at the beginning. I'm the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. Actually pause for a second and honestly reflect. When was the last time you promised yourself you'd save money and then, broke that promise within a week? Hey, no judgment here, we've all been there. But that exact pattern, that's the one we have to break to move forward. Section 3, the saving versus earning trap. Time to break the biggest money myth out there. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the absolute fatal trap, trying to save your way to wealth before you've grown your income at all. The brutal truth is, you literally cannot cut your way into $1,000,000. At some point, the math absolutely requires you to focus on increasing your income first. You just have to earn more, not merely spend less. This single massive mistake keeps way more people stuck than any daily coffee habit ever could. Now remember that tease about recessions earlier? Well, here is the payoff. See, many wealthy investors treat market downturns as massive buying opportunities. Why? Because assets basically go on sale. Historically speaking, markets that dropped sharply have almost always recovered and grown over the following years. So while everyone else is out there panicking, informed investors treat this like a giant discount event. They feel opportunity instead of fear because they get what's actually happening in the cycle. Let me share a super relatable story from the source material about a guy named Sam. So Sam didn't really feel poor. He just kind of never looked at his numbers. But when he finally did, he realized he was unknowingly spending around $240 a month just on food delivery. That adds up to nearly $3,000 a year. The point here isn't that you need to start aggressively cutting all your expenses right this second. It just proves that simple awareness absolutely must come before any real action. That brings us to Section 4, the Wealth Blueprint, 5 undeniable steps from zero. Let's move to and see how this builds through these 5 steps. Now, these are highly unglamorous, for sure, but they form a completely undeniable roadmap to financial stability. Step 1 is fixing your mindset, shifting from, I can't afford this, to, I don't have enough yet. Step 2 is tracking every single dollar for 30 days, just like Sam did to find that hidden $3,000. Step 3 sounds incredibly boring, but it changes absolutely everything. Build one income-generating skill. Even a single skill like freelance writing can pay $20 to $50 per project just to start, or maybe $15 to $30 for a quick video edit. Step 4 is adding income streams, and Step 5, invest early, way before you even feel ready. Actually, let's just pause on that 4th step for a second. You've always heard that wealthy people have multiple income streams, right? Well, it's really not about the sheer number of them. It's about removing your single point of failure. If you rely on just one single income stream, you are exactly one crisis away from absolute zero. That is not stability, my friends. That is really just fragility wearing a very clever disguise. Let's transition to Section 5, the compounding math. Time is your greatest asset. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can look at the raw math to prove this blueprint actually works. Let's do a quick thought experiment. What happens to just $50 a month if you invest it over 30 years? Well, if you consistently invest that $50 a month at a historical average return of around 7%, you'll put in about $18,000 out of pocket. But over 30 years, that snowballs into roughly $60,000. The math is undeniable, and it proves exactly why you simply cannot wait to start. To really ground this math in reality, consider Warren Buffett's timeline. The guy bought his first stock at age 11. As a teenager, he was earning money from paper routes and small ventures. He didn't start with inherited millions. His consistency compounded over an unusually long career into adulthood. Now, obviously, his billions aren't exactly typical, and nobody should expect Buffett-level results, but the pattern is universally proven. Start early, stay consistent, and literally let time do all the heavy lifting for you. Okay, bringing it all together, your 4-week roadmap. From basic awareness to your first paid client. It's time to pivot from the big picture theory and take these concepts and turn them into hyper-actionable, immediate steps that you can execute over the next 4 weeks. Week 1, just pick one skill. Week 2, practice it daily and track every single expense. Week 3, build a small portfolio piece to show off what you've learned. And week 4, go out and find your first paid client. Let me tell you, with absolute enthusiasm, the actual game of building wealth, it's highly unglamorous. But guess what? It is completely 100% repeatable. That's the beauty of this whole system. So the crucial point is exactly this quote. Wealth isn't earned once, it's built thousands of times. Every single tiny decision you make, whether it's skipping that extra delivery fee, consistently investing that $5, or spending an extra hour learning your new skill, is one of those 1,000 times. It all adds up. Finally, the conclusion, the emotional crossroads. Fast forward 5 years into the future. Let's step away from the math for just a second and visualize your future self. Honestly, which version of you will exist in 5 years? Because 5 years from now, you'll probably consume an explainer just like this one again. There's a version of you who will smile because you started this blueprint today. And then there's another version who will sit there and wonder why they waited. Both of those versions are you, but only one of them exists yet. The choice of who you actually become starts with the promises you keep to yourself today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you build.